Hey friends, what is up? Welcome or welcome back to my channel. My name is Sarah from Piesn'Prose, and in today's Vlogmas video, we're going to be talking about my garden system. So I know a lot of you have been asking me about the garden system and everything that entails with it, and I am going to give you a really quick rundown of what it is, how it's been going, and my personal experience with it so far. I will say that Gardyn does sponsor me. They did send this system over to me for free, and I received it in October. I think I actually got it on Halloween, and I set it up that day, and I've been using it ever since. So I'm just gonna give you a really quick rundown as to how it's been going for me in the past 3 or so months. I am also going to put some footage of me pruning it and maintaining it and just doing a really thorough look through at each plant. I feel like the system was due for a really good checkup. So what is Gardyn? Gardyn is an indoor gardening system. It works through something that is known as hydroponics, which is a real specific type of gardening that is specialized for indoor growth, indoor efficiency. You can look up a lot of information about this. I'm not going to go into details about it because there's just a whole scientific process about it. But it's essentially a way for people to grow plants indoors through a pod system, as opposed to having a bed of dirt and all the things that are associated with traditional plants outside. So that is why I am able to have the system indoors, because it is efficient to be growing indoors. And the garden system in particular is a smart hydroponic system, and what I mean by that is that it uses technology to help even further boost the efficiency of the plant's growth. The way that they use tech in this system is through an app and through scheduling. The garden system comes with an app. You can download it in whatever store that you have for free, and you set up your system once you receive it, and the app has different schedules for different components that help your plant grow. So we have the lighting system, and that is set on a schedule that you can definitely customize and work through inside of the app, just like you would have light outside on a traditional planting situation. Another thing that you can use the app to schedule is the watering. There is a base at the bottom of this system that is full of water and a mixture of plant food, as if you were to water your plants outside. So that is also something that is set on schedule. And once you set these schedules in the app, it does it for you. You don't have to stop and water the plants yourself. You don't have to stop and make sure that the light is getting to your plants. It does all the work for you through this app and through the system working with the app. So this is what makes it really smart and really cool. So when I received the garden system, it came in several pieces. They had the rods, and then they had the base system, and you can actually see an IGTV video of me setting it up and my first reactions to it over on my Instagram. So definitely check that out. I think I can link it in the description of this video as well. Very easy to set up. Took me 30 minutes with the help of Ian, and the only thing that was a little tricky was the setting of the app, because you have to connect the app to your Wi-Fi so that it has connectivity throughout. You can also see that as part of the IGTV situation. I don't want to be redundant and boring, especially since I've already covered it. But it was very easy to set up. Like I said, the lights are already there. The water, you just add water, and of course the pods. I'm not going to get too detailed. I know that is something that's more reserved for an official review, so I'm just going to leave it at that. And if you do want to see an official review, like a thorough review of everything, feel free to let me know in the comments. I can definitely do a thorough review. I can, work something around there, or I can do something on my blog. But I'm just doing a really quick Q&A of the common things that I've been asked about this garden system. More details can be found in the description, or you can leave me a comment and I can do something extremely thorough for you. You plug in the system, you connect the app to your Wi-Fi that you have in your home, and everything just starts scheduling and working on its own. You have very little maintenance that you need to do. Of course, you need to maintain the plants, which you see me doing right now, because of course plants will do what they please, and you have to make sure that everything is in a good spot, in a good place. Nothing's growing too wildly. Another thing that you have to maintain is just taking out the old water once a month and adding in new water and mixing a solution of plant food into that water, which is extremely easy to do. When I do it with Ian, it takes just no more than 10 minutes. If I were to do it by myself, it would probably take the same amount of time. It's pretty easy to do. And so I think that's the main maintenance. As long as you have a schedule, at least in my experience, I've just been using the scheduling system in the app. I just change out the water when I need to. I keep track of the plants, making sure that they are looking okay, pruning them when I need to prune them, and that's pretty much it. Now, as you can see in this video that is dubbed over me, you're seeing me maintain the plant and checking every single pod to see how the plant is doing. So what I'm looking for here is just the overall look of the plant. Does it look healthy? Are there any brown stems? Are there any brown leaves? Anything that looks like it's obviously dying? And if so, I just trim those off. You can also see me untangling some leaves from one another because they're starting to get a little too friendly, which can lead to it dying if it gets too stuck and something tears or something rips. You will also see that I can take out the pods, which if you're wondering what I meant by pods, you can see I am actually pulling out some of the pods. And that's what's really awesome about Gardyn, is that I can pull out the pods and sort of look around the entire 360 of the plant and trim off anything from any angle. Some systems you can't take the pods out. You can't really rearrange or anything like that. So this is a really cool thing about the Gardyn system, is that you can pop them in and out. What's also really cool about popping them in and out is that if I see a plant is completely taking over a space, like for example, you'll see the tomato is taking over a huge amount of space and it's sort of blocking the light from other plants. I can actually move the plant that is being blocked by the tomato and move it into a space that is a little bit more freed up. So you'll see in the video that I moved the jalapeno plant because he was literally getting buried by the tomato and the bell pepper that was next to it. And so I just popped it out. I rearranged it with another plant that was a little bit shorter so that nothing's really getting blocked and they can all have their own individual space without, you know, hurting each other basically, which is super, super cool. I think that's one of my favorite things about the Gardyn system right now. What is my personal experience with Gardyn so far? So far, I have nothing but good things to say. When it came to setup, when it came to maintenance and keeping track of everything, it has been one of the most seamless experiences I've had with plants in general. I have plants that do not work on a smart system. They just sit on my windowsill, and those are the hardest to maintain. I never really know what it needs, and so I use an app. Like I actually downloaded an app for those plants, entered in information manually so that I can remind myself as to when to feed it or water it, what have you. And yeah, that's my way of maintaining those kinds of plants. I also had another hydroponic type system, which was fantastic, but what was limiting was the structure of it. It was a tabletop system, so it was quite limiting in terms of allowing the plant to grow. It can only grow so tall, it can only grow so wide, and if it grew too wide, it would destroy the plants next to it and you couldn't really move them around. And again, that one was a little bit smart. It had a schedule as well, but here's something that I personally also really love about the Gardyn system. It's simply put, like I said in the beginning, it's smart features. It is extremely smart, and their app is something I like. I don't even know how to explain it. It's magical. It has a live camera. Not a live camera, is that it's live streaming. It's just taking occasional photos of the system. I can get into that more if you want to see a more detailed review, but I can check on the plants if I'm not at home, which I don't necessarily need to do. But another great thing about that camera is that the app has a virtual assistant, and that virtual assistant is called Kelby, and Kelby can look at those photos and tell me if something needs to be done, if something needs to be pruned, if something needs to be cut back, if something needs to be moved around, or if something's not growing so well, what can I do to help it grow? Kelby is there to help me, and Kelby, this virtual assistant, will send messages in the Gardyn app. And it's so funny because when I started recording this video, I actually got a message from Kelby, and Kelby was telling me, hey, it's time to check on your roots and just make sure that the roots are not growing too long and tangling up with anything. Go ahead and give it a trim. So that is very critical and useful and monumental information for someone who's trying to maintain growth of plants and don't know where to begin. You have this assistant here literally telling you what to do to help. It's amazing, honestly. That's something that's fantastic, and one of my personal favorite things about the system in general. It's like something out of a sci-fi movie. I remember when I was younger, these things, like having a virtual assistant is something you wouldn't imagine we would actually come to, but we have it in just day-to-day items. And what's really cool is that this smart capability and smart system virtual assistants, we're using it for plants, which is fantastic that the technology is being used for something such as plants and gardening, which we can sometimes see as archaic or traditional or old school. So I just think this is such a fantastic concept, and in my personal experience using the virtual assistant, using Kelby, it is truly something efficient and effective. And to step aside from the technologies and the technicalities, the specifications of the system and whatnot, the system has given me such a pleasant experience, not just because it is easy to use and it's efficient and it just works very well, but I can grow produce in my apartment. Like, let's think about that sentence. Growing produce in an apartment? In an apartment on the 3rd floor in New York City? That is something incredible. I personally have been working on sustainability and sort of trying to minimize waste, trying to cut back on costs, trying to really simplify my life, grow my own produce so that I don't need to purchase it at the store, especially when you're trying to get produce at a store here in New York. They can really jack up the price, they can really throw on that organic tack. To be able to grow my own produce is not just like knowing where the produce is coming from and who's making it and who's treating it and touching it and whatnot, but it saves me money in the long run. I don't have to purchase, I swear to you, I don't ever have to purchase lettuce ever again. You've seen this already in one of my Vlogmas videos. So it's overall such an amazing product, an amazing thing. I have a code. You can use my code. I'll put it in the description so you can just copy and paste it. I have a code for $100 off. It's something. It is something. So hopefully you know, give it a try, check it out. I think you can also do like monthly installment payments through their website, so that's something fantastic in my opinion as well. All right, I hope I answered a few of your questions, if not all of them. Let me know if I missed anything. I am happy to do a follow-up, like I said, or do a full review, but I hope you enjoyed these clips. I hope you enjoyed seeing me go through every single little plant. I had such a great time. It actually took me, I would say, less than 30 minutes to do all of that pruning, and it was a rewarding experience to say the least, and I just love my plants so much. They hold a special place in my heart, so I'm glad I can share some of that footage with you. And that is all from me today, and I will talk to you tomorrow.